first finals game in this building since 2010.
The atmosphere here at TD Garden in Boston is electric.
To Brown the boot. Jaylen Brown is erupted here in the first. He's got 17 first quarter points.
Curry behind the screen, backed up by Klay Thompson. Hand off Draymond for a dunk inside.
Tatum, another three. Tatum putting the largest lead of the first half with 18-point advantage. Curry, long three-pointer. It's good. And the foul. Steph Curry lighting it up. Another third quarter avalanche for the Golden State Warriors. And it's their first lead since it was 2-0. Marcus Smart knocks down a three, and the Celtics regain the lead. Throws it up, and Williams throws it down. Boston Celtics take game three. They're 2 wins away from a title.
Back in Boston, it's now the Warriors hoping to keep their bounce-back streak alive in these playoffs. Meanwhile, the Celtics on their home court looking to take a commanding 3-1 lead. Klay Thompson called this a must-win game tonight. And how healthy is Steph Curry? This place is ready for game 4, including, we got some booze going on behind us for Steph and Klay, but we also have Monica arriving in style with her pregame.
I wonder what she got.
DoorDash.
DoorDash. And we welcome you into Hoop Streams, presented by DoorDash. I'm Cassidy Hubbarth, alongside Christine Williamson, who you can check out on SportsCenter on Snapchat following Game 4.
Yes.
Never not working.
Yes.
And David Jacoby, back with us.
Back.
This is your first finals game.
I couldn't miss this one.
You were almost late because you thought.
Well, I'm here.
Okay, you're here. You know,
Here,
we're
right.
Hour long.
A lot of traffic. A lot of
A lot
traffic.
of traffic here in Boston, but make sure to check out Jalen Jacoby weekdays on ESPN too. Guys, we're Game 4.
Yeah.
Whole lot going on. I mentioned how this crowd is booing.
Already
Steph Curry.
booing.
Yeah.
Already booing.
Already
Yeah,
booing.
Klay was
Already
doing
booing.
this when they were booing too. I love that.
Already.
And we got to actually figure out what is Steph going to look like tonight, because we know in Game 3, Al Horford landed on his leg. You know, he went through shoot-around today, said yesterday he's going to play. Steve Kerr said he's playing without restrictions tonight. But, Jacoby, what's your level of concern around Steph's health?
0% concern. This is the NBA Finals. I think if it was a regular season game, he might take a game or two off. But in this environment, in this game, as Klay said, Steph even intimated this himself. This is a must-win. Must-win NBA Finals game. You might not be 100%, but no one's 100%. He is going to go, and he's going to be just fine. Look at him. Look at that.
Yeah, he looks fine.
Yeah, look, his pregame routine is a thing of legend, and you see him kind of, hopping on that hurt leg there just to kind of test it out. But before Game 3, he was doing something really odd. Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
And try to explain to me what is going on here in his pregame routine. He's here with his shooting coach as we're waiting on that video. Maybe we don't have it.
Sometimes
We
he
can
bowls.
demonstrate. We can
Sometimes he plays
demonstrate what
football.
happened. We can demonstrate.
Oh, there
I
we
was
go.
going to say, we could do it.
He's alongside his shooting coach, Bruce Frazier, here. And I don't know if they're, putting on a show or...
Okay, I did look at the comments. Somebody said it was a peripheral vision test, but I don't understand how. Because he was following his
His own
arm,
hand.
and then he went like this. So I feel like that person was wrong, but I believed them for a minute.
Really good internet searching research.
I read a lot of comments.
Comment section.
Peripheral vision test?
Yes. Sure. Didn't it sound good?
Sure.
Didn't it sound good?
I
It did
believed it
sound
for a
good.
second.
It did sound good. Maybe warm up the ankle, not the peripheral vision.
He had a really good Game 3, so maybe he did.
Yes, he did.
I mean, he probably could have used a little more peripheral vision, out of Al Horford's way, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
But Steph has been great these playoffs, and as good as Steph has been, Draymond has been bad, and he has not been walking the walk, but we certainly know that he knows how to talk the talk.
This is the NBA Finals, and like I said, I wear my badge of honor. When a guy comes and starts, when you say that and then you start talking junk to me, then yes, I'm going to say something about that, of course. Oh yeah, that was just contested shots. If that's X's and O's, then you reaching for something, it's all good though, keep going. Reaching heavy. One thing that baffles me about the 80s or the 90s or whatever you want to call when basketball was so much more physical is some of the guys that be talking weren't the guys that was punching people. I don't say much different on the podcast than I say to you right here. So every guy, just because they played in the 80s, just because they played in the 90s, is like, man, if you played in our day, you get knocked out. Like, nah, not really, because it wouldn't be you.
How do you feel you played?
Like,
There's been a lot talking about Draymond, so we figured let's play a little game called Okay Dre or No Way Dre, because he's clearly one of the league's best trash talkers.
Right.
So I want to run through some of Dre's ways. As,
somebody else is getting booed.
Yeah, the Celtics are ready because Draymond Green just sat on the bench on the opposite side of the court.
Seems like the Celtics fans are saying
yeah,
no way, Dre.
they're ready.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're going to play this game, and you guys have...
Okay, Dre.
Yes. Okay,
No way,
Dre.
Dre.
I'm smiling. No way, Dre. Okay? We'll see if you're on board with, what's going on with him, or if you feel like it's just noise. So let's start with, Draymond had a great game 2.
Yep.
Game 3, not so much, and he even said it himself post-game.
How do you feel you played?
like,
What most disappointed you about the way you guys played tonight, and yourself?
I was soft. That's what was most disappointing to me.
So he knows he knows he needs to turn it on. But okay, Dre, or no way, Dre, is he going to have a bounce back game here in Game 4?
Okay, here's my thing. I don't want to talk trash about Draymond because I'm not trying to get in that podcast. I'm going to say, okay, Dre, do you?
And he can see you right now because he's down on the other end.
We're happy.
I'm going
yes.
okay, Dre, as well. I think he does have a bounce back game. I think that the way he affects the game has nothing to do with stats on the box score. It's just the energy, the emotion, the defense that he puts in. You said he had a great game, too. He only took 3 shots. So that's how he affects the game.
Yeah, but what about, offensively is one thing, but defensively is where we've seen kind of a lag for him as well, which has been surprising.
One thing I saw defensively in Game 3, something I've never seen before, is he was being ISO'd. Jaylen Brown, so what they did in Game 2, they switched him from Horford to Brown. And Jaylen Brown said, you know what, get out of my way. I don't need a pick. I'm going to take the former Defensive Player of the Year, and I'm going to go right to the hole. And he did this once, twice, 3 times on Draymond Green, which is something I haven't seen before. And somebody tells me that Draymond's seen this footage as well, and he's going to be ready to go tonight.
For sure.
Yeah, but the Celtics team is not scared. They're not intimidated by this Warriors team with so much of this experience.
Right.
The Celtics just seem so unfazed. I'm going to say no way, Dre.
Really?
I think he has another bad
really?
game tonight. Because
We'll hold this up for Cass.
it's dependent on how Robert Williams is feeling heading into this
Good
game.
point.
100%.
Good point.
And we don't know that. So, as much as we're keeping an eye on Steph Curry, Robert Williams has said he's questionable every single game because
it's been like that for a month.
How he wakes up
Right.
and how he feels after each game, pre-game warm-up. And we'll see. So, want to move on here. Post-game doesn't always mean podium game when it comes to Draymond Green, who, of course, has his own podcast. And take a listen to what he said and how he opened the Draymond Green show after Game 3.
This whole narrative of Draymond's focused on podcasting and blah, blah, blah. Listen, y'all gonna get this podcast. Like I told y'all at the beginning of these playoffs, this podcast ain't going nowhere. I'm going to leave the arena. I'm going to return to this hotel room. I'm going to return to my home when we're back in San Francisco, and I'm going to film this podcast.
So
y'all gonna get this podcast. Y'all gonna get this podcast.
So are you okay, Dre, with him podcasting specifically after games he struggles, or are you no way, Dre?
You're okay with it?
Oh yeah.
They're losing.
I love it.
Okay, here's the thing. If he was playing well.
Is this our first fight?
Yes, it is.
This is our first fight.
This is definitely our first fight. I feel like if he was playing well, specifically him, if he was playing well, okay, cool, podcast all you want. But bro, you're not playing very well. Like I feel bro, yes, we're friends. But if he's not playing well, he should be focused on winning the finals and not podcasting, even though he has the #1 basketball podcast in the world right now. Yes, okay, cool. But let's play basketball.
See, this is new media. This is how he says it, new media. If he was tweeting, no one would mind. If he was going to Instagram Live, no one would mind.
I would mind.
Just because it's a podcast, he goes back to his hotel room and podcast. I love it. I'm here for it. I love Draymond Green as a media member simultaneously in the finals. He's coming for all of our jobs.
I love him. I will say, I love him as a media member, but he's going to lose the finals because he's podcasting.
Oh, wow. I disagree. Disagree. We're fighting.
Combine these two. Combine these two for me. Because, like, I don't want him to stop podcasting because
Content.
Like content.
Of course.
And we want that type of access to players.
Yes.
But also, maybe turn it down a little bit because you are trailing in the finals.
I disagree. I love this.
He has more podcasts these finals than he does points.
Rude.
That's so true.
Rude.
Just saying.
Jacoby's just saying that because he is a podcaster.
Podcasts in these finals than he does blocks.
He has the #2 basketball podcast, by the way.
Of course,
He
Jalen
also has
Jacoby's
the
number
same
one.
amount of fouls in this series that he does.
15 fouls,
points.
15
Oh,
points.
no.
So just saying, maybe tone it down a little bit.
Tone it up, Draymond. Tone it up, Draymond. Don't listen to them.
All right, let's flip the script a little bit. As we've been hearing, the Boston crowd is ready for Draymond.
Yeah,
they were ready for him in Game 3. And Klay Thompson had Draymond's back, sarcastically calling the fans really classy. But that reminds us of Klay back in 2016 and the Oakland fans heckling LeBron during the finals. Take a listen to this.
We played in front of rude people before, dropping F-bombs with children in the crowd. Real classy. Good job, Boston.
People's feelings get hurt, even if they're called a bad word. I guess his feelings just got hurt.
Okay, so we switch it up a little bit, like contradicting stances there.
Right.
Okay, Klay, or no way, Klay? Which stance are you behind?
No way, Klay. Okay, here, what are we no waying? Because he's contradicting himself, so I'm like, calm down. Like, you can't contradict yourself. He's just mad because they're down right now. But if they were up, I'm sure he'd be like, come at me, bro. Like,
So
whatever.
yes.
He's
No way, bro.
I'm going, okay, Klay.
Wait,
as
what does
someone
that
who's
mean?
constantly hypocritical, constantly contradicting themselves,
Oh, my
switching
goodness.
my pick after every single game. I agree with this.
Yes.
Don't whatever I say
You
yesterday
agree?
doesn't matter.
Which one?
What matters is now.
Yes, right.
I'm in the moment.
Right.
I'm very zen.
Okay, I get
so
it.
you know what, Klay? That was the old stuff. Why, if you want old Klay, buy his old albums.
We do want old Klay. Old Klay was
I
at least
will
going to win
say-
the finals.
I agree with 2016 Klay. Like, this is nothing new. Don't act like this is something
Right.
new.
It's a
Just
good
like
point.
how Anna Horford, Al Horford's sister, tweeted out, like, people try so hard to villainize Boston fan base when the behavior from our fans is pretty much on par with just about every other team in the NBA. Passion is everywhere. Vulgarity is everywhere. Like it or not, it's part of the game. I mean, hence, how about Draymond cussing on the podium in front of his son? I'm not
Good
judging
point, good
parenting.
point.
I'm just saying, like, vulgarity is everywhere. So it always has been. As Anna Horford is like becoming like a star of these finals.
I love
and
that.
I'm like,
Deuce, Anna,
Right, Deuce,
it's the family
peripheral stars. The
affair.
family, it's a family affair here at the finals.
Okay, so obviously Draymond was a huge part of Game 3. It's a huge conversation. I actually don't know why you're talking about Draymond so much because he's not playing well. But anyways, huge conversation. A lot of good moments happened in Game 3. Let's take a look at some of them, including Paul Pierce. Now, Paul Pierce walked by here. He said hello to Cass.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-huh.
he was wearing. This is an amazing
he was
jacket.
enjoying
Oh, yeah.
himself. Let's just put it
You
that
know,
way.
Had a great time.
Of
He was
course,
having a
Celtics fans
great
were going
time.
crazy, all fired up.
He was in the huddle at one point.
He was.
Was he? Okay, so that's the question. Was it Paul Pierce that led the Celtics to the Game 3 win? If he's all up in the huddles and stuff.
In his
If you
mind.
ask Paul Pierce, he'll say it was Paul Pierce.
Yes, it was.
If you ask me, I'm going to say
Yes.
no.
No, it wasn't him. It wasn't him.
He had asked
It was on the
Paul
court.
Pierce
If
when
you
that
ask
game.
Paul Pierce, it was Paul Pierce.
Yes, 1,000%. And talking to Paul Pierce that night.
It was
Yep,
him. It was him.
Anything could have happened
Right.
that night. I'll leave it at that.
I'm glad.
Wait,
Okay,
no,
I'm glad I
Cass,
didn't have
please
that.
elaborate.
Please tell us what that
Please
means.
elaborate,
Great time.
Cass.
I love you, Paul. He was having a great time, as he should.
Of course. Of
TD
course.
Garden is a party during the finals.
Yes.
Of course. We've seen a lot from Paul Pierce. Anyways, let's move on because my favorite thing to do, Jacoby, I don't know if you know this about me. I love looking at people's style.
No, she likes
breaking
judging
it down.
people's style.
Breaking it down just a
Before the
little
show
bit.
A little bit of a difference.
So Marcus Smart. Okay. How do we feel? I will tell you how I feel. And this isn't awful. A little Louis Vuitton fit. You feel me?
It's like a rapping
but
Santa's elf.
my issue is I don't like sunglasses indoors.
No, me neither.
I don't mind wearing sunglasses indoors if you're a certain type of celebrity in a certain type of moment.
Is he?
But these don't fit him.
So the problem to me is if you're wearing shorts, how are you also wearing a hoodie? And he definitely looks like an extra on the movie Elf. With the green hair and the red jacket.
Listen, I wear jackets when it's hot outside. I always do that kind of stuff, so I can understand that. But he also wore that like on set. Can he see?
No, those sunglasses didn't fit his head.
Oh, they were too small.
Another good point.
Oh, so you're saying that he has a big head?
Yeah,
oh, wow. You just called him big head.
Let's move on.
Wow, Cass.
Another thing that happened, and this was amazing, Nelly came onto the set in Game 3.
That was a surprise.
I honestly wish that I was on set when it happened because I wanted to ask him how much all that jewelry costs.
Yes.
A lot.
And do you see Deuce?
Deuce wanted to take some.
He wanted to snatch it off his neck.
I'm sure he didn't understand what exactly was going on. He just wanted to get it. But I mean, Cass, how was it having Nelly?
It was okay, other than I'm not sure if you saw. I completely froze and didn't know any. Don't know any of Nelly lyrics.
You know lots of Nelly lyrics.
And not in the moment. And I was like, okay, Nelly.
You did say though, you were like
jeans, boots with the fur.
But you did say it's getting hot in here.
Like more times.
That was the most
more times though. I really leaned into it. I really.
I need 2 pair. Give me 2 pair.
Yeah. But I will say, I bet you that Nelly was starstruck by Deuce because he's the real celebrity. And actually, our Malika Andrews sat down with Deuce's dad, who talked about who's the real superstar in the family.
Deuce.
You're a parent, and your son you named after you. And this might be silly, but why is he Deuce and not just Junior?
Funny enough, his name was supposed to be Jackson, Jaxxon. As soon as he was born, I looked at him, and, selfishly, I was like, no, he looks like me. So I convinced her to name him Jason, as long as we came up with a nickname and figured out Deuce. Say bye. Say it louder.
Bye. He was at the game last night. You shared with me that, he went to bed when you went to bed, woke up when you woke up this morning. What do you want him to remember about this run?
Just that, it was his dad's first NBA Finals and that I wanted him to be a part of it every step of the way, as I have throughout my entire career. I didn't know that the spotlight about us would, be what it is today when he was first born, because he is a star. So just the bond that we have and kind of growing up together as he's gotten older and throughout my career, I think it's special.
I know you've spoken about superstardom recently. I don't know, is he a bigger star around here than you?
He might be. His name holds just as much weight as mine do, especially in this building.
And Deuce's dad is coming off a big Game 3 performance. 26 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds. He actually leads in both total points and assists this postseason, looking to become the 6th player to lead in both in a single postseason, hoping to be one of the greatest in our game. Speaking of, time now for Goat Check.
This is amazing! Oh, this is amazing! I'm somewhere in the castle, making sure she's fed. Making sure she's good.
You're good too, Monica.
I'm not on the throne, though.
But
rightfully so.
You guys are making me blush.
No, guys, you deserve it. Queen DB back with us, of course. Monica McNutt. Check these two ladies out. Listen on ESPN Radio as they call Game 4. Lot to get to. Yeah. I think one of the biggest storylines is Steph Curry's health. Steve Kerr said no restrictions tonight. So what do the Warriors need out of Steph tonight in order to even this up?
They need greatness. They need legendary in my mind. I mean, at a minimum, I think they need 30 and 10.
Wow.
I think he's averaging 22 shots. I mean, tell me, Monica, do you think he needs to go north of that field goal attempt? They need greatness. They need legendary. They need everything he can provide.
I think I agree with you on the field goal number. The difference is going to be who supports him. Steph has been the consistent piece of this Warrior squad so far in this finals pursuit, but the support has not been there. I don't know how much more he has to give practically without them becoming bad shots even for Steph.
And they got stuff from Clay. So then Is that who you're eyeing again? Is the support? Who is the support?
It's the three-headed monster that make up the core of this Warrior squad, Draymond and Klay. And whilst Klay's numbers after games 1 and 2 are significantly better, he has to continue that. And then we've all talked about it ad nauseum. At this point, Draymond Green has to be the catalyst, both offensively and defensively. And then we can begin to have conversations about Jordan Poole and those other support guys.
I think the Celtics are going to stay in drop coverage, which means he should get opportunity. And I think the reason they're doing that, Cassidy, is because they're taking away layups and dunks and all the momentum plays. So I think the shots are going to be there for Steph.
So as far as the Celtics are concerned, I mean, they're the favorites right now. It's odd to see the Warriors as the underdogs, but who are you giving the most credit to when it comes to the Celtics?
You go first.
Okay, Monica.
You know, Doris and I were just talking about this. I'm actually going to go Jaylen Brown. I think he's been the most consistent. He has the best field goal percentage defense-wise. Marcus Smart is second behind him. And then Jaylen continues to really step into his own. The way he started Game 3 with 17 first-quarter points. But in addition, in the fourth quarter, he's also just as steady and able to score. He really has done a great job of setting the tone and remaining cool, calm, and collected.
She makes a great argument. And for me, it was a toss-up. But I'm going to go Jason Tatum. And I'm going to say that because he can win the game in multiple ways. There have been moments where they've needed tough twos to be made, tough threes to be made, and he's done it. There's been moments where he's needed to get off the ball and make passes. She's right. I mean, you could flip a coin and pick. That's why we have more games to be played. Somebody's going to get separation.
And I think you could actually flip a three-headed coin if that were actual thing and throw in Ime.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
And, you know, because I think his impact on those two and them having the confidence in exploring other avenues of their game is really, really coming to fruition throughout these playoffs, specifically in the finals, and specifically with Jason Tatum's playmaking, which has been a defining part of their success so far. All right, we talked so much about Draymond. I'm not going to hit you guys with Draymond stuff, but there's a lot that falls on Draymond for the energy of the Warriors. The same could be said about Marcus Smart and the energy that he brings. What are you expecting out of Marcus, and what have you seen so far from him, specifically in Game 3?
I mean, I just love his tenacity.
Absolutely.
And, you know, there have been moments, particularly over the last 2 games, where he's held Stephen Curry to 3 for 10 shooting, and it's come at critical times. To me, Monica, if you're going to guard Steph Curry, and again, he's not taking the assignment solo, but he is willing in the toughest moments to fight over screens, to not put his head down when Steph scores. And there's just this energy, this pureness about what his approach is night after night that I love.
Before I hit you guys with some stats from our terrific sports and information squad, the one thing that I observed in Game 3, in that third quarter, he was the guy.
Yes.
Come on, guys, we're good. We're good. He was constantly talking to his teammates. Every now and then when Draymond Green got the ear of one of his teammates, he was the guy to go to his teammates. So I think some of those things that don't show up in the box score are just as important for Marcus Smart. But, guys, check this out. In terms of what the team is shooting, they're shooting 41% off of his passes, and he has contributed to 35 points off of his assists, right? And so that's the second most behind Jason Tatum. And so while we know what he brings defensively, he's holding Steph to about 40% compared to the next closest guy, which is at 52%. While we know what he brings defensively, and I said this coming into the series, I thought he had room offensively to be of impact.
Look, we talk about how young Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are, 24 and 25. Marcus Smart, he's only 27 years old, and he's the longest tenured Celtic, and there's just a calm about him. And, you know, you feel that he's like the big brother. Even though Al Horford is the true big brother, there is this big brother-ness to him that I feel like he's kind of holding this group together.
I will add, his outfit yesterday is strong contention for my Halloween costume this year.
What was it?
You didn't see the green hair, the red Louis Vuitton fur jacket, the white glasses?
Christine just, you know, broke it all the way down. You can watch the replay, Doris. Okay, prediction for Game 4. What do we got tonight?
Okay, I'm going to make my prediction, but I will make this statement. If the Celtics play well, and this game comes down to a Steve Kerr, Steph Curry coaching adjustment late in game, but they have played well, I will then probably tilt toward the Celtics being able to survive this series. I do think tonight the Celtics have room to make adjustments. They will counter the Warriors' adjustments and protect home court. I'm taking Celtics.
Whew. I'm taking the Boston Celtics.
Wow.
I believe they're going to handle...
Up 3-1.
They're going to handle prosperity. Now, you know I was wrong the last time, right?
Child, you got a throne. You are always undefeated.
Always right. But are you guys ready for all the 3-1 Warriors jokes? Or I don't know if I'm.
Oh, man.
I'm going Warriors.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I like
think
it.
that there's a bounce back and maybe a special Steph performance. Maybe I don't know.
He's going for 40 tonight.
Listen, I do think the Warriors are going to play much better, but this is where the Boston Celtics have an opportunity to grow up again in front of us.
Well, you guys will have front row seats. Make sure to listen to both of them on the call on ESPN Radio with Mark Kesher. Thanks, ladies. Meanwhile, here's a look back at Game 3 through the perspective of the Celtics' biggest talker, that guy, in Grant Williams.
Okay. I didn't ask you to put melody on it, okay? Hey, I don't want you to harmonize with me. I just want you to sing. I'm sick of it. That's how you know you're with the Vanderbilt. Acapella. I got up on that one. Scott, where you at, Scott? Fashionably late. Fashionably late. Scott Foster, right here. Here he is. There we go. Hold this for a second. Just hold this. Hold that. Now you got it. Oh, yeah. Where you at? This is what it's all about. Yo, this is what it's all about. Hold that! Hold that! Hold that! Hold that! Hold that! Time out! Way to start! Clay! JB! Clay! JT! Otto! Hey, like we always say, they made their run. Go out there, let's make ours. Don't fade back. Stay in it. No layup! 6 more minutes, give me all you got. Rest tomorrow. 6 more minutes. Can I get one? Head tap. There you go, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. I just feel good about myself, you know?
And one of the big changes in Game 3 was the Celtics dominated inside the paint in Games 1 and 2. They only had 25 field goals combined in the paint. Game 3, big difference. 23 total makes in the paint per second spectrum on 66% shooting. Back now on Hoop Streams, presented by DoorDash, and we're now joined by Brian Windhorst, the host of the Hoop Collective podcast, with brand new shows before and after every single finals game. Guys, I want to run through some of the things that we have learned because we're 3 games in, so we know what this matchup is like. So let's start with something that you talked about on your podcast, and that's the Warriors being underdogs, which is not something we see much. What have we learned about the dynastic Warriors as underdogs?
This is not the dynastic Warriors.
Yeah.
You know, that's the truth. And I kind of felt like the Celtics were the favorite coming in, but I wasn't sure until I saw these first 3 games play out. The computers actually liked them. The computers all said the Celtics were going to win. The bookmakers all had the Warriors as a slight favorite. And here's the reality. For as much as the Warriors have going for them, the only matchup that has been consistently in their favor has been Steph Curry. And that's who I think they can really count on. Now, look, I don't know, Monica. I don't know if tonight maybe Jordan Poole scores 25. Maybe Clay has 35. I don't know. But I know that Steph can get it done against the way the Celtics are playing. And so one of the biggest things I've learned, as hard as this to say, they need more from Steph.
Whew.
Wow.
They need more from Steph. He's averaging 22 shots, shooting 49% on 3. He should be taking 30 shots if he's shooting 49% from 3, because I don't see how else they have room to dominate more.
And should that be the whole focus of the Warriors offense, is just getting him as open as possible?
Yes.
Steph running around on that hurt leg as much as possible?
No, I think they're just set high pick and roll, let the Celtics decide whether they want to drop their big men, and if they do, let it fly, Steph.
Because you've been pointing out that
he
could be hitting more shots against that drop coverage. Why do you think he hasn't been, I mean, he's been awesome, so to say he hasn't been hitting that many shots, but the drop coverage ain't.
I do think he's still a little bit of a team guy, and so maybe he has to switch a trigger, and you're right, let him fly because I'm this team's best option. My only counter to the idea that Steph needs to take more is that the Warriors defense has to step up. We know, literally, we know what happens when the Boston Celtics start to turn the basketball over, and that to me is the simplest formula to get some of those role players involved.
I think maybe the Warriors are also hoping that the Celtics have another letdown after wins, because that's been as much of a trend as them winning after losses. The C's, as we've heard, perfect. Now 7-0 coming off a loss in this postseason. Brian, what have we learned about the Celtics' motivation throughout these playoffs?
They just don't play cleanly.
They don't.
They're 3-6 in the last 3 rounds after wins. 3-6. 7-0 after losses. I mean, this team, pretty much, you can just watch the turnovers.
Yes.
When they have more than 15 turnovers, they normally lose. When they have less than 15 turnovers, they normally win. At halftime the other night, they had 8 turnovers. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, they were close.
Then they had 4 in the second half, and what happened? They rolled to victory. So, for some reason after wins, Cassidy, and maybe it's because they're young, they don't have the killer mindset. But they
we know Ime is saying the same thing.
100%. So it's funny, Brian, because that is definitely the stat that we all can look at, and it is very obvious and blatant in terms of results. But I actually think this is the game where they grow up. I think this is the game where they take the momentum from the 3rd and 4th of Game 3 and they turn it over, because to me, their confidence continues to grow. They are not going to get a better environment going out to chase, and I think how they turn the ball over is controllable, right? Yeah. We've seen Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum find just the right amount of dribble penetration before that ball is starting to whip around the corner, as opposed to getting into too much traffic and bouncing it off their foot. And so I think tonight's the game where they take a big
You don't like
step.
it when Marcus Smart throws it into the backcourt so that the Warriors can pick the ball off like wide receivers?
Yeah.
You didn't like that?
It's my favorite thing ever.
Well, and part of the success that we've been talking, throughout this finals is Jason Tatum's ability to not turn the ball over, but distribute at a high level. And that's how he's really, really been hurting the Warriors. Look, his all-around game, he's averaging 8 assists per game this series. So what have we learned about Tatum's all-around game in these playoffs when he records 7+ assists?
You know what he's shooting from the field? He's shooting 34% from the field. If I had told you, Monica, at the start of this series that Tatum was going to shoot 34% from the field through 3 games, you'd be like, are we seeing a sweep in Game 4?
What's going to happen?
But he has been terrific at creating. The other night, he didn't shoot the ball well. He's 9 of 23. But in the 4th quarter, he repeatedly went in, made a couple of contested layups, and passed the ball around. Here's another stat. When Tatum gets 7 or more assists, you might as well look at this along with the turnovers. 7 or more assists. The Celtics are 18-2. They've won 15 in a row. The other night, 9 assists. What happened?
Yeah. This started ECF, honestly, Cass.
Yes.
We talked to Derek White, right? I know for a fact we asked Derek White. I think we asked somebody else about how Jason's great game has grown. And it was his ability to make plays. Derek specifically said, from his experience with him in the 2019 World Games, his ability to make plays. And so Ime actually pointed out, Game 1, he thought Jason had a better overall game than he did in Game 2 because he made plays as opposed to just filling up what turned out to be, I guess, kind of empty stats because they dropped Game 2.
I mean, it's no doubt that Jason Tatum is the superstar on this team, but is he your front runner for Finals MVP right now, or are you giving that to Jaylen? Given his impact, we're talking about Jason's impact outside of just scoring.
You could have gotten Jaylen Brown an 8-1. Before Game 3.
You missed it.
It's down to 3.5 now. I don't think we know what game the MVP is going to be. I mean, I think the series is still going. I still feel like it could go 7. I think it's going 6. The MVP may not have presented himself yet. If the Celtics win and Marcus Smart has 3 more great games, by the way, Smart was great.
He's been terrific
in Game 3. I don't know. I would say that at this moment, if it was the best of 3, I would have voted for Jaylen Brown. But I don't think there's a real clear leader.
Yeah, I mean, Game 4, we're going to see some changes.
It's a lot.
And, there's going to be a microscope on Steve Kerr to see what kind of changes he's going to make. He's been talking about, playing around with his rotation, as you mentioned on your podcast on Wednesday night. It seems, though, like the Warriors don't know how to play, to quote you, and who to play. So what have we learned about the Warriors' rotation here?
Monica, can they keep playing Draymond Green 38 minutes if he's going to play like this?
Wendy, we need to get our hand on the Bible. We got to answer some truth questions. That's a hard question.
I think they should play Kevon Looney more minutes. Here's what I would tell Draymond. Draymond, don't worry about the crowd. Don't worry about getting Celtics players unnerved. Just rebound.
Yep.
Just get 5 rebounds in the first quarter. Get 8 rebounds in the first half. If you just rebound. But I'm going to tell you something. If Draymond doesn't start rebounding, I'm reducing his minutes and giving some to Kevon Looney.
And it's ironic, Wendy, because it seems almost blatant. When Kevon Looney is on the floor, even if he doesn't come up with the rebound, the ball is tapping around and winds up in the hands of the Warriors, and more times than not, it ends up at a shot from behind the three-point line, which is cash, because they killed the Celtics in that category in Game 2. I also am curious, and I understand that he hasn't necessarily gotten a ton of burn, but a guy like Jonathan Kuminga, who can match up a little bit with the athleticism.
That's a big ask for a rookie. I mean, I know why you're saying
give me 5. Give me 5. Like, I'm not saying take 20 of Draymond's minutes, but give me something.
I know why you're saying it. I don't know. That's a lot to ask a rookie in this moment, in these lights.
Listen, the Jordan Poole, I mean, not pure rookie, but none of these guys have tremendous experience. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that the Warriors are averaging 105 points a game in this series. That's 10 points fewer than they average in the conference finals. So they got to do something to get more points. It's very basic and something we haven't said about the Warriors very often this last decade.
As a fellow podcast host, are you for or against him podcasting after bad performances? Like,
I'm for it because I think it's great that he does it. But I would love to know what his coaches and his teammates really feel about it. I'm not saying what they're saying.
I was about to say what they
What do they really feel? I'm sure they're not
because
crazy.
that's a storyline. Like the actual act of the podcasting, like he's just sitting in his hotel room, sober or not, whatever. You know, like there's been worse things that guys have done post game.
The problem is,
but we're talking about it.
Not only that, if Draymond had been playing stupendous through this, oh great, what are the X and O's that are working for the Warriors? That has not been the case. And the noise is more of a conversation than his actual productivity, and that is an absolute problem. Just rebound.
Just get some
4 rebounds. When I saw that on the box, I was like, wait, what?
Don't even worry about the assists and the other stuff. That'll come. Rebound.
I will also add box out, right? Because if this game is going to be physical and you are soundly using your technique and not flailing around trying to draw calls, you're going to get some whistles just by virtue of the energy and effort and force required.
Speaking of rebounding, we talked so much about the Celtics bouncing back after losses. The Warriors, they're 5-0 after losses. Let's look back at the Warriors' ability to bounce back after dropping games this postseason.
Jokic on the roll, kicks it out. Harden for 3, the dagger. The Denver Nuggets with some pointed resistance tonight.
If you lose a game, how you bounce back, show you know what your DNA is.
The first team out of the West are the Golden State Warriors.
I think we felt that playoff pressure for the first time in a few years, and our guys responded.
Ja Morant pours in 47 points.
You know, to win this series, we've got to execute better. I know we're capable of doing that.
A much-deserved ovation from Golden State. They bounce back. An absolute obliteration in Memphis.
We'll see a totally different effort on Friday.
The Golden State Warriors are heading back to the Western Conference Finals. The Mavericks have stayed alive, winning a Game 4, and their Warriors are going to the NBA Finals again.
You understand the process and how you have to get better throughout the course of the season.
The Celtics have stormed ahead. The Celtics take Game 1.
This series is just getting started.
Launches. Oh! Money! The Warriors have responded. Boston Celtics take Game 3 for the Golden State Warriors. A chance to bounce back Game 4.
Snap-back game between both these teams strong, as we mentioned. Warriors 4-5 after wins. Celtics 3-6 after wins. After losses, the Warriors 4-0, Celtics 7-0. But the Warriors are outscoring their opponents by 15.4 points per game following a loss this postseason. And the crowd is loud.
That part of the show, Cass.
Yes, as these Celtics are ready to run out onto the court. We're about 20 minutes away from the start of Game 4. Jacoby back with us, Brian Windhorst, of course. And now it's time for the greatest of all time, presented by DoorDash. And guys, we are going to look at the greatest NBA Finals series of all time since 2000. And we start in 2010. Lakers, Celtics, as you hear the crowd roaring. They weren't roaring during this game, though.
So, Wendy, this was the Ron Artest shot, right?
It was the Ron Artest shot.
Yep.
We're showing all of Kobe's makes, but he actually was 6 of 24 in this game.
Yep, Ron Artest
back in 2010,
famously went to Jimmy Kimmel and said, "I can't believe he passed me the ball."
Kobe took home his second straight NBA MVP of the finals in that one. How about in 2011? Everyone expected this to be the first of a string of titles for LeBron and the Heat, and Dirk said not so fast.
Dirk with an incredible series. He was sick. He had injured his finger. He had a terrible first half in this game.
Oh, we remember the cough.
Oh, yeah.
We all remember the cough. Big
LeBron.
JJ Barea series.
Oh, but this
Yes,
was a great
true.
all-time game for Jason Terry. He was 11 of 16 that night.
Ooh, good point.
With the tattoo of the Larry O'Brien trophy on his arm already.
Yep.
What about 2013 Spurs, Heat?
We all know what happened here.
Ray Allen, move that rope back. Get that out of
People
here.
act like this was Game 7, though. This was Game 6. LeBron.
LeBron took
had a
over
big
in Game 7, 37 points. That's what you're saying Steph needs to do. I heard you earlier on all of our shows. He needs to be LeBron-esque tonight.
Steph's got to get 40. Tonight, LeBron would get 40, Steph get 40.
Wow.
And then, of course, 2016, probably the most famous Cavs-Warriors series, the block and the dagger by Kyrie.
Big Draymond game. If they win this, Draymond had a huge game in this Game 7.
Draymond had 32 points in that game. He has not scored 30 points in a game since.
Wow.
Cleveland, that was for you. Finally, Suns-Bucks last year in Giannis. To this day, I think this performance by Giannis is still underappreciated. It was just last year.
He had so many moments. He had the lob and he had the block. He put his stamp on these finals.
He was also like 15 of 17 at the foul line.
Yeah, and he missed one late, too. Like, there was one super late that didn't even matter that he missed.
And had a 50-piece in the closeout game in the finals.
And then literally got a 50-piece from the chicken joint.
Good point. We might not be in this building right now if Chris Middleton was healthy.
Right.
Fair point. All right, so Game 4. Are we expecting an epic game in this one tonight? And will that carry on to a more epic series, or is it going to be quick work, Brian?
I don't think Jason Tatum has shot well yet. It could happen tonight, and if he does, the Celtics are going to be up 3-1. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying that Steph hasn't played great so far. Steph can take it to another level. I've seen it.
Yep.
They need it. If the table is set for it, Steph, go get 40. Go get 40.
Steph can get you 30 or 40. Is it going to be Klay Thompson? Is it going to be Jordan Poole? Is it going to be Andrew Wiggins? He needs a running mate. He needs someone else to put up 30, someone else to be a threat, someone else to get some gravity
wait for it,
towards
Jacoby.
him.
If that happens, great. He can't wait for it. He's got to do it himself. Take the wheel. This ain't the 2017
Steph,
Warriors.
take the wheel.
Take the wheel.
Steph, take the wheel.
Take
I love
the wheel,
it,
buddy.
I love it.
Yeah, because, like, to your point, you're mentioning Jordan Poole. Like,
He can't pass the ball to Andrew Wiggins. Steph, take the wheel. Take the wheel.
I mean, who are you looking at?
I want someone else. I want Poole or Thompson or
But
Wiggins
is
to
Poole,
score 30.
I mean, do you feel like
I want
Poole
filet
can...
mignon for dinner. Steph,
I thought it was
gotta be
lobster.
Steph.
I thought we had lobster already.
No, I don't want that. Steph, it's got to be Steph. This is Steph's moment.
Wow.
But
I love this from Wendy. Wendy is saying, Steph, this is what you have to do.
This is what it
you
is.
want your first
He
NBA
did tell-
Finals MVP. Do it tonight.
And he said he's in his prime. This is his prime, and if this is where he wins the Finals MVP that has eluded him, this could be the
Yes,
game.
right now. You want to end all, have an iconic game in this building. They've won 26 straight series. They've won a road
I think it's
game.
very safe
Good.
to say the winner of this game wins the series.
I don't know about very safe, but you can make a case for it.
I'll make a case. Fair. I'll make a case. It feels like if the Warriors get this one, go back to San Francisco, then they're going to feel very comfortable about 5, 6, and 7.
Why are you saying you don't feel very safe?
Because I can't trust either of these teams.
Yeah.
Neither of them are all-time greats. They've got flaws. I enjoy watching them play. But how about we have a tight fourth quarter? If
I
all
love
those
that. It
fail,
feels like it's been a month.
It's Friday night.
It feels
We
like.
can stay
Do you
up
remember
late.
that first Nets Celtics game? That was like the best playoff game, and it was on night 1 of the playoffs.
That was 6 weeks ago. It's not been a month. It's been way more than a month.
I know.
Yeah, we can stay up late. You're going to be up late. You and Zach Lowe.
It's Friday night.
Post-game.
No, you don't need to go to bed early.
Yeah, listen to his podcast after the game, of course, the Hoop Collective, with new episodes of Forward and
Is
after.
today Friday?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good.
But you'll be working until Saturday.
That's right.
and through Monday as well. Thank you very much, Brian. So I do want to show you guys something really cool that NBA Entertainment has done, providing a really awesome opportunity these finals to support the NBA Foundation, creating tangible pathways to professional opportunities for Black youth. NBA Entertainment supported 4 students from Ghetto Film School on site at Game 2 of the NBA Finals to get job training, make professional connections, and create content around the finals. Check out this snippet from A Day in the Life.
Well, to me, the way to prepare, it's the same things that you've been doing to get to that point. Don't change. Just continue to trust your habits.
Pre-game rituals, I meditate.
A lot of nerves, jello in my legs. That's a good thing, you know?
You can't really put too much pressure on yourself. You just have to make sure that you play well.
And so it's just important to be present and enjoy what's happening in front of you. It's all a blessing.
You can never compete.
Back here as the Celtics have just run out onto the court, and the Warriors as well, to loud
Starting to get
boos.
loud.
I mean, they've been booing since the moment Draymond. I know, exactly. Look, the Celtics are 13-2 this postseason when they record 15 or fewer turnovers. We talked a lot about that. They've gone 1-5 when recording 16 or more turnovers. So clearly that will be on the Warriors' plan for tonight. We'll see what happens. Back with Jacoby and Christine.
We out here. You know, this is the thing. As we know, the internet is undefeated. This is an internet show. So we decided to look at some things that were happening on the internet with a little thing that we call internet says.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing, I actually love this. Ime Udoka may have saved the Celtics with a key question during a timeout after his team committed some bad turnovers. He just said, will you guys stop playing like assholes?
I love that he talks to the Celtics in the finals the way I talk to my kids in the car.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's just like,
Is that how you talk to your kids, Jacoby?
Yeah. It's like, I'm trying to drive us to the park.
Oh my
or
God,
at least when someone asks me how my kid is doing, I'm like, acting like a little a-hole right now, and that's okay. No,
but he's earned this reputation.
He
This
has.
is big part of his love language is, you know, a little.
Well, Jason Tatum was asked post-game, you know, what's it like playing for a coach who doesn't get too high or too low? And he was so animated. He goes, doesn't get too high. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but he cusses us out a lot. So, you know, he as I mentioned earlier with Doris and Monica, he is responsible for so much of the success this year. For a first-year head coach to have this team operating, as he put it throughout the year, breaking the bad habits that didn't get him over the hump, and now here he is in his first year in the NBA Finals. It's pretty awesome.
Well, you guys stop playing like assholes. It's working. It's working.
It's working.
The next thing is Celtics fans responding. This is a meme. Celtics fans responding to the classy comments.
Already. It's already happening.
We've already heard it. We've already heard it. This
45 minutes ago, they were booing.
The environment, I don't know if I would call it toxic. I would call it lit, you know? It's lit in here.
Toxlit?
Would you call it toxic?
Toxlit?
Toxlit.
Toxlit.
Webster's.
I love that.
Webster's at
us working together.
Are we friends again?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
For
it
now.
works. Okay, this is, I feel like, Jacoby, you would actually like this take. Take on Draymond. So somebody tweeted and said, MJ gambled till 4 a.m. the night before the finals games. Rodman left town to smoke cigars with Hulk Hogan on WCW Nitro. I don't think Draymond talking on YouTube for 30 minutes sober in a hotel room is why they're losing, guys.
I do not understand this conversation. He should be allowed to do a podcast. Let's imagine he called his friend and spoke on the phone for 30 minutes. Would that be a distraction? Would that be a problem? Just because it's now uploaded to the internet doesn't make it a problem. I support Draymond and everything Draymond does at all times because he is going to take my job.
Right, exactly.
You just want to be along for the ride.
Yes.
I mean, kind of has already. You know, we're out here talking about his podcast, giving him free promotion as we're talking about him playing in an NBA Finals game. Whatever. You know, that Sam Esfandari. Sorry, you have a blue
shout
check
to Sam.
too.
Big shout to Sam.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Right. It's not the reason.
Even though I would love to have listened to the podcast of Jordan at one of the blackjack tables. I feel
that
like that
would be a good one.
Well,
that would be a different kind of
Was it a flu game? Was it a pizza? Was it? We don't really know.
A whole different kind of podcast. Okay, finally, I want you guys to see this.
Wait, no, breaking news. Jason Tatum's got hit in the head by a basketball.
Did he?
I want you guys to know that. Yeah, he got hit in the head by a basketball. He caught a stray. Sorry.
Okay, look at this food that was in the media room.
The outfit, though.
This was a press food.
Oh my gosh, I saw this guy in the hallway. I thought, like,
I have a lot of follow-up questions. What about the bibs? What about the smell? Do we have
he was just in
crackers?
character?
Like, it's a lot.
Did you had the lobster?
I didn't, because it was $10, and I didn't know I needed to bring $10 cash to buy some lobster. It's actually hilarious.
$10 lobster.
That's actually pretty good. But it was actually, oh my gosh, I don't carry cash, but thank you. It was actually hilarious because I pulled up and they were like, who are you with? And I go, ESPN. And she goes, it's $10. And I was like,
I don't care who you're
I don't
with.
have any cash, so I got to go. Bye.
All right, well, we will see what the internet has in store for this game tonight. This crowd is certainly ready to deliver.
Ready to go would be one way to say
we are
it.
about 11 minutes away from the start of Game 4.
Well, you can hear the crowd already. It's the first finals game in this building since 2010.
The atmosphere here at TD Garden in Boston is electric.
Brown, the points. Jaylen Brown is erupted here in the first. He's got 17 first quarter points.
Curry behind the screen. Backed up by Klay Thompson. And on Draymond for a dunk inside.
Tatum, another three. Tatum running around. Largest lead of the first half with 18-point advantage. Curry, long three-pointer. It's good. And the foul. Steph Curry lighting it up. Another third quarter avalanche for the Golden State Warriors. And it's their first lead since it was 2-0. Marcus Smart knocks down a three, and the Celtics regain the lead. Throws it up, and Williams throws it down. Boston Celtics take game 3. They're 2 wins away from a title.
It's time now for the main attraction, and to close the show out strong, we have our reporters who've had their boots on the ground all season. Tim Bontemps, who has had a close watch on the Celtics, and Om Youngmisuk, who has been with the Warriors. And so, a lot of news to get to. Let's start off with Steph. What have you heard about how he's feeling heading into this game?
So far, everything has gone about as good as they could probably hope. After game 3, you could see that he was limping up to the podium. Yesterday at practice, I watched him. Didn't look like he was favoring anything. This morning, while they were playing, as you know, I love my old school R&B, New Edition. They were playing Can You Stand the Rain?
I know
okay,
you do.
with Ralph T and Johnny Gilsing. He looked good. Jab stepping, shooting his shots, going through everything. Steve Kerr said before the game should be no limitations. But this is a pain tolerance thing for Steph. The good thing is he has a blueprint from the last time that he hurt this. He knows what it feels like, and it sounds like this one does not feel as bad as the last time.
Okay.
We just saw him here working out. I watched him before the game. He looked good moving around. He was going through his normal routine. I think we can expect to see something close to normal Steph, which is a great sign for the Warriors.
So Steve Kerr, we've been seeing him talking about making some adjustments, and he made one in the starting lineup heading into tonight.
Yeah, Otto Porter now is in the starting 5 for Kevon Looney. I can understand it. He's going to give them a little more offense right off the bat. Hopefully still rebound and a little more defense. They got punished on the glass and on the boards in this last game. Steve Kerr made 2 things very clear in the pregame. They've got to play defense to spark their offense, and they have to rebound. And I think this is where Otto Porter can come in and help them on both sides of the ball.
I hate this move for the Warriors. I don't understand it at all. I don't know why they went this way. You talked about the lack of rebounding. Kevon Looney has been a dominant force on the offensive glass the entire playoffs. Yeah. Now he's out of the starting lineup.
He's concerned about the perimeter shooting. If you put in Looney and Draymond Green, I understand that gives you defense and rebounding, but it doesn't give you enough scoring.
And play your Michigan State Spartan Draymond Green less and play Kevon Looney more. I just don't understand this for the Warriors. I don't like it at all.
So throughout this show, we've had people talking about, can Steve Kerr play Draymond less? Maybe give Kevon Looney some more time. From what you've gathered in talking to Steve Kerr, do you think that that's at all possible in this series?
Steve Kerr's very loyal to his guys. As you saw early in the series, he played Andre Iguodala almost out of reverence and respect for him, I think. Draymond Green is the heart and soul of this team. It is going to be very hard for him to take him out and play more guys. I understand it. Championship on the line. But here's one thing, and you know I love Draymond Green, but the one thing that's not negotiable for him is his intensity, his energy, and his attitude. He should be bringing that every game, not every other game.
He has to be. He has to bring all those things tonight. The Warriors lost all the hustle plays in Game 3. They have no chance to win any game in this series when they lose the hustle plays. At this point in Draymond's career, that's what Draymond Green is bringing you. The hustle plays, the energy. Like Ohm said, if he's not bringing that, he can't be on the court. So, look, we'll see what happens here. Maybe I'll look foolish. I really do not like this at all, though, for the Warriors. I think going small, going away from Looney, we even last game had a bunch of offensive rebounds and limited minutes. I think he needed to play more. Now he's guaranteed to play less. I don't like it
if it doesn't work, then he can just go right to Looney.
Yes.
Well, you talk about the hustle plays. A guy who was all over the court is the same guy who's been on the injury report probably longer than any other player in this series, and that's Robert Williams.
Yep.
What can you tell us about how he's feeling heading into this game, and how crucial is his impact for the Celtics?
Coming behind us right here, right now, and the thing you need to watch in the first few minutes of this game is how active Robert Williams is at both ends of the court. We saw it in Game 1 and Game 3. He came flying out of the gate, blocking shots, flying around the court. You see him dunking here. When he is playing with energy and his knee is feeling good, the Celtics, I think, are just about unbeatable in the series if they take care of the ball. If he's playing like in Game 2 and earlier in the playoffs when he's gimpy, he's only can play 14, 15 minutes, he's hobbling around, then things get a lot more advantageous for the Warriors because he's the only guy that's given Steph any trouble in that pick and roll. So if Robert Williams is feeling good, the Celtics take care of the ball, I think they're winning this game.
Brian Windhorst earlier said that Steph Curry has to have a monster game, a LeBron-ass takeover game. What do you feel like has to happen for the Warriors to avoid falling 3-1?
Look, he hasn't had a lot of help. Clay kind of broke out the last game, but I think he needs more help than him having a monster game. And if Clay can step up, Jordan Poole can step up, but Draymond has to bring all the things we talked about, then they don't need him to have that monster game.
Draymond's got to bring all the energy. Steph's got to go for 40. Jordan Poole and Clay have to hit shots. It's a lot, but they have to do it to win.
We will see Game 4 coming your way. Thank you, Ohm. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everyone, for watching Hoop Streams presented by DoorDash. We're back Monday for Game 5 in San Francisco. Enjoy the game on ABC or the ESPN app on the go if you log into your cable providers now. Thanks for watching, everyone.